No one is coming to save you. I want to say something to you today that nobody in your life has had the courage to say. And I'm going to say it plainly, because I respect you too much to waste your time with comfortable lies. No one is coming to save you. Not the government. Not your employer. Not your parents. Not your friends. Not luck. Not circumstance. No one. The life you have 5 years from now will be the direct result of the decisions you make starting today. That's either the most terrifying thing you've ever heard, or the most liberating. It depends entirely on what you decide to do with it. Now let me ask you something. And I want you to answer honestly, not to me, but to yourself. What have you done this week to improve your situation? What book did you read? What skill did you practice? What did you sacrifice in order to invest in your future? Because if the answer is nothing, if you spent your evenings distracted, your weekends wasted, your mornings hit with a snooze button, then I need you to understand something. You are the problem, not your boss. Not the economy, not the neighborhood you grew up in, not the hand you were dealt. You whack, because you have had the same 24 hours as every person who has built something extraordinary. And what you do with those hours is your choice and yours alone. I didn't come for money. I was broke at 25, broke and full of excuses, just like most people. I had a list of reasons longer than my arm for why things hadn't worked out. My family didn't have connections. I didn't have the right education. Nobody showed me how. You know what I finally figured out? My list of excuses was the most expensive thing I own. Every excuse cost me a year. Every rationalization cost me an opportunity. Every blame I placed on someone else was energy I could have used to change my own life. The day I stopped making excuses was the day my life began to change. Not the day I got lucky. Not the day someone gave me a break. The day I took full, total, uncompromising responsibility for where I was and where I was going. Can you do that? Can you look at your life, all of it, the bank account, the relationships, the body, the habits, and say, I am responsible for all of this, not partially, fully? That is the hardest thing most people will ever do. And most people will never do it. Most people will go to their graves blaming someone else for a life they chose through their daily inactions. Let me talk to you about discipline, not as a concept, as a practice. Discipline is choosing what you want most over what you want right now. That's it. Wow. That's the whole formula. Every time you choose the television over the book, you are making a vote for the life you don't want. Every time you choose sleep over preparation, comfort over growth, entertainment over education, you are building a future you will be ashamed of. And the worst part? It happens slowly. That's why most people miss it. You don't go broke overnight. You don't become unhealthy overnight. You don't wake up one day suddenly unqualified, suddenly behind, suddenly average. It happens one small choice at a time, compounding quietly, until one day you look up and wonder how you got here. Well, I'll tell you how you got here. Choice by choice. Habit by habit. Day by day. You built this. And you can rebuild it, but not the way you've been going. Here's what the successful people I have studied all have in common. Every single one of them. They are students. They read. They learn constantly. They treat their mind like the most valuable asset they own. Because it is. If you haven't read 10 books in the last year, you are not serious. If you haven't listened to something that challenges your thinking in the last week, you are coasting. And coasting only goes one direction, downhill. Read every day. Not social media, not the news. Books die. The best minds in human history wrote down their secrets and left them for you in libraries and bookstores, available for almost nothing. And most people walk right past them. Most people are broke, average, and struggling. And most people don't read. That is not a coincidence. Work. Really work. Not busy work. Not the appearance of effort. Focused, deliberate, productive work. There is an enormous difference between being busy and being effective. Busy people are everywhere. Effective people are rare. Effective people know their most important priorities, and they attack them first, with their best energy, before the day has a chance to steal their focus. I want to talk to you about the people around you, because this is something most motivational speakers won't tell you, because it makes people uncomfortable. Your environment is shaping you right now. The 5 people you spend the most time with, their habits are becoming your habits. Their standards are becoming your standards. Their level of ambition is infecting your own. If you are the most motivated person in your circle, you need a bigger circle. If the people around you are content with mediocrity, if they celebrate staying small and mock those who try to rise, you are in the wrong room. Change the room. This is not about abandoning people you love. It is about being intentional with your time and your energy. You are not obligated to absorb someone else's ceiling as your own. Now I want to address the people who are going to hear all of this and say, "Jim, I know all this. I've heard this before." Good. Well, then why aren't you doing it? Because knowing and doing are 2 completely different things. The gap between knowing and doing is where most people spend their entire lives. Comfortable in their knowledge, paralyzed in their action, sophisticated enough to understand what they should do, and disciplined enough to do none of it. Knowledge without action is fantasy. It is nothing. It changes nothing, builds nothing, earns nothing. You want to feel good about yourself? Go read another book and do nothing with it. That is a hobby, not a philosophy. Philosophy applied is called a life, and your life will be the proof of whether your philosophy works. Here is the hardest truth I know. Success is not fair. It is not distributed equally. It does not care about your background, your intentions, your feelings, or your potential. It rewards results. It rewards consistency. It rewards the people who showed up on the days nobody was watching, who worked when they didn't feel like it, who pushed when everything in them said stop. Life pays you based on what you actually do, not what you're capable of doing. Your potential means nothing if it stays inside you. So let me ask you again, what are you going to do? Not what are you going to think about? Not what are you going to plan? Not what are you going to intend or consider or research further? What are you going to do? Today, this evening, tomorrow morning before the rest of the world is awake. Because the person you want to become is being built right now, in this moment, by what you choose next. You have everything you need to begin. You don't need more time. You need more discipline with the time you have. You don't need more opportunity. You need to be more prepared when opportunity arrives. You don't need a better situation. You need to become someone who creates better situations. The life you want is on the other side of the work you've been avoiding. So stop waiting. Stop explaining. Stop negotiating with yourself about why today isn't the right day. Today is the day. It has always been the day. Now go do the work.